kind of hot in here tonight, isn't it? That's rare. What's that?
It's your long sleeve shirt.
Yes.
I think we're good. Cheers.
All right, thanks. Okay, it looks like we filled all the spots. If everyone got a seat they're okay with? How many people are new tonight to Alembic? Yeah, okay, good. Welcome. My name is Michael Taft, and this is Deconstructing Yourself. Are we rolling video, folks? Someone's supposed to give me the thumbs up so I know whether it's happening. I assume it is, but just making sure the stream has been started. Good, okay. So I'm going to lead a guided meditation. And feel free to, you can use this one or put out some more cushions over there. We're good. Okay, thank you. I will lead an hour-long guided meditation. And that means if you're on the floor, hopefully you're used to sitting still cross-legged on the floor for an hour. Every week, a whole bunch of people sit down who aren't used to sitting on the floor for an hour, and it looks pretty painful. So, because the idea is, we're not going to move very much. But let's say you absolutely have to move. Please move real slowly and quietly. There's like other people, sitting near you. And I think most of us are used to, I don't know if you are used to doing it at home, you kind of do whatever you want, but here you want to do it really slow and gentle so that you're not kind of upsetting anybody's meditation. And we have one chair left, and if you need a cushion, you can just grab, I think there's one there. Okay. Anyway, so we'll do a guided meditation, and you can either follow along with the guided meditation or not. You don't have to. You can do your own sit if you want. Just enjoy the group energy. All I would say is that, of course, you want to be quiet and allow other people to do their sit. And then when that's over, I will probably talk for a while about something or another. Hopefully something relatively germane to meditation or spirituality. And then after that, we'll have Faiza here bring around a microphone. And if anyone wants to report on their experience or ask me a question or whatever, there will be an opportunity to do that. And then at the very, 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 very end, we'll just do a nice silent sit together for 5 more minutes or something. Just kind of a little capper at the end of just silence. Okay? So that's what we're doing. So as usual, we're going to do a little bit of just kind of movement together, seated movement. But the first thing I want to do, we're going to mix up the order here and say, what I'd like you to do first is just check in with yourself. Close your eyes, just check in with yourself. Feel what your body feels like, feel what your emotions feel like, feel what your brain feels like. And and the kind of question that we're asking ourselves is, what is it like to be me right now? What's it like to be me right now? And, your answer can be anything. It sucks. It's wonderful. Anything in between. But more important than whatever words arise is just what you're noticing, what the body feels like, what the emotions feel like, what the kind of mind activity feels like. And just kind of noticing that in a neutral way, not judging it as being good or not good, not trying to change it or control it or somehow wish it were different or, anything like that, but rather allowing it to be just however it is right now. So I'm inviting you into the radical act of just accepting, what it's like to be you right now. Rather than having a big agenda around changing it, controlling it, improving it, disapproving of it, etc., etc. We're just going to say, what if just for the next hour you get to be exactly the way you are? So just take that in for a moment and see if we can sit here just allowing ourselves to be. And as we all know, sometimes that's not easy. Like, man, it's really uncomfortable to be me right now. I wish it were different. But can we just kind of let go of that for now? Say, well, that's the way it is right now. And sometimes we're like, yeah, it's not bad, but I could be so much better. What if I were this? And what if I were that? And what if I achieved this and did that right and all that? It would be so much better. What if we just let go of that for the next hour? You don't have to let go of it for the rest of your life. You don't, although that'd probably be good, but you don't have to. Just for now, just for this sit. Letting ourselves be just the way we actually are. And there can be a kind of fear with this, like, but if I let it be the way it is, it will never change. But there's two hints here. One, everything changes, so it'll change. But the other hint is, has all the struggling to change it really done anything? And honestly, sometimes the answer is yes. I've, done a lot of hard work and things have gotten better. So we're not utterly renouncing the idea that we can improve, but just more like for now letting go of that kind of scrabbling, acquisitive need to improve. That keeps us from just being present. So, okay, let's do just a little bit of stretching. We start out reaching up like this. You can do whatever you want. Your body is your body. Take care of your body. I'm going to do it like this. My rib cage is opening up, and when I put my arms up, instead of holding my breath, I'm going to breathe here for a moment. Take big breaths that fill in that rib cage. over to one side, expanding the side ribs here again, big breaths into that open area. Feels so good. Let's try it the other way. Just really letting a lot of air in there. You can also do kind of exaggerated out breaths if you want to kind of make sure all the air in your lungs is fresh. Okay. And then all the way in front, opening up the back ribs and also the lower spinal region. Remembering to breathe while you're here. Eventually sitting back up. Let's roll our necks a little bit, whatever works for you again. Take care of your body. My body's different than yours. Then I always enjoy circles, like wrist circles and elbow circles and shoulder circles. And they can be out of sync or in sync, and they can go this way and then that way, but just circles. And just shake whatever way feels good, whatever your body needs. And then we're going to do our lion's simhasana, right? Our lion's pose. So if you know that from yoga class, that's what we're going to do. 1, 2. That was pretty good. But we're going to do it again anyway. I want some serious sima energy. Very good. Okay. That feels good. Now just shake in whatever way. Okay. And then just come back to sitting, but do some, I call this circles, but notice it's not just hula hooping. I'm actually kind of circling my whole pelvis here on the cushion, and then the other way. Getting a super intense foot cramp, so that's waking me up. And the idea is we're going to come into our upright seated meditation posture, but we're not going to stop anywhere, right? We're just moving our spine, we're rotating our spine, we're a young sapling in a nice wind, like kind of a misty rain wind that feels really rejuvenating and energizing and prana enriching, and the wind never quite stops. So that even though things settle down and maybe we appear more or less relatively motionless, we're never kind of locking it out, right? We're not locking that bolt and being like, oh, I'm rigidly still now. Instead, it's like, oh, I'm just found a beautiful balance and the wind just dies down a bit and then dies down a bit more. But notice how different that is than like finding a place and locking yourself into it. And it's like a relaxed, open, upright stillness. It's very pleasant kind of stillness. Right? Good. Now, I invite you to just set aside for a while your thinking mind. Your thinking mind can continue to think. It can do whatever it wants. You're not trying to stop it or control it or judge it or change it. You're just setting it aside. And what I mean by that is you're just not engaging with whatever thoughts are happening. You're coming back to just open presence. And the thoughts that are there get to be there. No problem. Just not grabbing onto them. And rather, we're hanging out in open presence. Open presence isn't some special state. It's just sitting there when you're not engaged with thinking. But it's comparatively spacious. It's open and present, right? When we're in the thinking, we're mentally time traveling all over the place. But when we set the thinking aside, then we're just present, naturally and easily. So don't get in any kind of war with the thinking mind at all. Just disengage. And if it's very sticky, that's okay. We can just disengage again. And what I'd like you to do while sitting in this kind of spaciousness, this open presence, it's very spacious because we're not rigidly locked into thinking. We don't have to make it spacious. We don't have to force it somehow to open up. It's just open because we're not narrowly down inside the thinking. In this spaciousness, I'd like you to just notice the coming and going of the breath, which is like the rising and falling of a gentle wind in this vast open sky. Right? Our awakeness, our present awakeness is like an open sky. And then the breath is just coming and going. Now you might have a practice where you really narrowly focus on the breath, like maybe right at the nose you're watching individual breath molecules. That's not what we're doing. This is remaining nice and open, nice and present, really relaxed. We're just simply noticing breathing coming and going, the breath coming and going. A little child could do this. It's not a special focus. So let's do that together for a while. Noticing how easy, open, peaceful it feels to just be simply present while not engaging with the mental content. Feeling that breath wave just simply coming and going without any big deal. We're not breathing in any special way. If you find your mind wanting to grab onto the thought content and start fiddling with it. Each time, just when you notice that kind of crimping or grabbing or tightening around the mental content, just relax. Relax that mental tightening and just allow that content to flow onward without you engaging it any further. We just come back again to simply being present and open, this kind of very natural, basic spaciousness. Noticing the breath coming and going. And notice again, when we're just not engaging with thought, we can just simply be present. It means there's nothing in particular to focus on. We're not trying hard to meditate. We're just not being involved in thinking and then simply sitting here, awake and alive and present. If you want to, you can pay a little bit more of attention to that breath that's rising and falling, if that's necessary to kind of stay present. But really we want to give that as little attention as necessary. Because all we need to do is just simply be present. Good. Now notice that with each totally normal out-breath, we're not doing special out-breaths, just breathing. With each out-breath, there's a little more letting go occurring, a little bit more simply relaxing happening, a little bit more of the clenching is unclenching. Now sometimes people hear me say this about relaxing and they think it's time to start doing like stretching class, and that's not what I mean at all. I just mean anywhere that you notice that something's clenching, to whatever extent you just can voluntarily stop clenching, that's the kind of relaxation I'm talking about. That's the kind of openness and ease that comes into our being when we just sit in presence without engaging the thinking mind. We're just noticing that on those out breaths, there's a real opportunity to just relax, open, feel ease, release, release, release. And if it doesn't release, that's okay. And with each letting go or each relinquishment of tension, that sense of natural presence and ease and openness gets clearer, gets more stable, gets richer. So let's sit together here for a little while, just being present outside the thinking mind and releasing and relaxing, opening in simple presence. Good. Now, I'd like to see if you can just experiment with something. And the experiment is, can you just give over all sense of trying to do anything at all right now? And just allow this moment to just be what it is. And so the invitation is not only to sit outside the thinking mind, but to actually step outside any sense of being the doer of anything. Doesn't mean stuff stops happening. Breathing will keep happening. The world will keep turning. The birds will keep flying in the sky. but any sense that you're trying to do anything at all, that's another thought that we can just set aside. And then it gets to be there, but we're not engaging it. And instead, we're simply resting in being. Now, the paradox here is that people can try really hard to do letting go of doing. That, of course, doesn't work. You just gotta let go. You'll keep breathing, your heart will keep beating, but that whole conceptual frame, the whole schema that you're somehow trying to do something, we're just setting it aside. We're not trying to get anywhere, we're not trying to change anything, we're not trying to make something happen, we're not trying to control, judge, critique, rate, manipulate. Take your hands off the steering wheel and just sit there. Often people will then try to do it and try to see if they're doing it right and try to, think about how to do it and just drop all of that. And see if you can simply and naturally and easily just be. And if you find yourself back in the hamster wheel and you're trying to do again and you're thinking, just let go. It's no problem. Just let go and come back to simply being. Just present. Naturally open. there can be a kind of dullness or sinking that can happen here, because sometimes when we're not doing the thing it reminds us of the most is falling asleep. It's the only time in the normal day when we're not doing. And so if you find yourself getting muddy and dull and drowsy, feel free to sit up a little straighter and even open your eyes. Because we do want to maintain the alertness. We don't just want to take a nap. So we're simply being, but we're awake. We're not falling asleep. This is just a matter of conditioning or Pavlovian style responses. We're used to doing a lot, and the only time in our day when the typical person, the only time in the day when we're not doing is when we're laying in bed, falling asleep. And so this can sometimes remind us of that, and that's natural, but we don't want to fall asleep. We stay awake, and we stay bright and clear, just simply by keeping our eyes open or sitting up straight. Good. Now, if you want to keep simply being, then just keep doing that. If, on the other hand, you want to join me in a different part of this meditation, then that's where we're going to go now. So feel free to ignore the next part if you want. What I'd like you to do now, because you're just being, right? You're not trying to change anything. I'd like you to imagine, this is an imagination thing, so you have to use your thinking mind a little bit, but as little as possible. I want you to imagine whatever person, entity, God, Bodhisattva, Buddha, being of any sort, even abstract principle, that you feel actually loves you or could love you. And I want you to picture that, I'll just call it being, in front of you right now. Not far away, just sitting like another person, maybe a normal distance away, like a yard away, and just sitting in front of you. Maybe it's a light, maybe it's a Buddha, maybe it's a deity, who knows? Whatever works for you. And really feel it. This is not about how good your visualization is. It's really more about feeling that they're really there. And then secondly, looking in their eyes and just feeling that love for you. Doesn't mean you have to feel love. You just feel that they love you. and see it in their eyes or feel it in whatever way you feel it. But notice right now that you're not fronting, you're not putting on a mask, you're not pretending, you're not trying to be somebody different than you are. You're literally just being exactly the way you are. And before you is a being who simply loves you, but really loves you the way you are right now. And really loves you in the simplest, purest way. And just feel that unconditional, beautiful, sweet, genuine love touching you. Again, this is not about how clearly you can see the visualization. It's about just feeling, being loved just the way you are. And just let that love touch you. Feel that love as actually present. And feel how that love begins to change you. Things loosen up or relax or melt away. And the whole tenor of one's being just elevates. Because love itself is so powerful. So just take that in. Just let yourself be actually loved. And just feel it. The paradox of this kind of practice is that even if the being is imaginary, the love that you're feeling is real. So just take in that love, feel the love. Notice again, I'm not requiring you to generate a bunch of love. You're just feeling it from the being. So let's sit and do this for a little while. Good. Now, assuming you are, feeling that, you really can feel that love coming your way. And you're just being you. You're not pretending to be anything else. You're simply being and receiving this love. And this being that loves you is really able to see, who and what you really are. I want you to just reveal to them just the worst stuff about yourself. The things that you don't like and the things that you wish you hadn't done and the things you feel are inadequate or awful about yourself, or that you feel guilty about or cursed or condemned about. And just open that up. Let them, they can see it anyway, but actually reveal it to them. And notice that their love just grows stronger. They already saw all that. But now that you're kind of giving up the fantasy that you're hiding it, they're just loving you more obviously. Can really feel the total unconditional kindness and acceptance in that love. It's not hard. Everyone is, in their essence, utterly lovable. Everyone was a week-old baby who deserved nothing but love. Nothing but appreciation and being seen as a spark of adamantine divinity. And so this being is seeing you that way now. And it's not hard. It's not hard. And on top of even seeing all this difficult stuff, of course, they also see all the really special things about you. The real extra sparks of beauty in there. Good. Now, on an in-breath, just breathe in that being into yourself. Feel them filling your whole body, your whole spirit, your whole being. There really is no separation. They are you, you are them. And just feel that. What's it feel like to be not separate from that being? That's what you really are. Coming back to simply being, sitting and breathing. Not really doing anything at all. Okay, good. There's, some discussion we can have sometimes around like the nature of the universe or what things are really like. And especially in non-dual type discussions, I really very often run into this idea that there's a kind of awareness that is absolutely neutral, right? It has no properties whatsoever. And that's kind of the background of everything, right? There's awareness. We all agree in those kind of discussions that awareness is the background of everything. But the idea is that in order to be the background of everything, it needs a kind of total neutrality. Otherwise, it would kind of be leaning one way or the other, and that would be already an effect rather than like kind of the basic space. And a lot of the original languages around these kind of ideas talk about stuff like nirguna Brahman and so on, where things have propertyless. Nirguna means propertyless, right? It has no qualities. And, I get what they're talking about, because awareness can be very clear and still and have this sort of, it's not like it's trying to do anything, it's just noticing, right? So if there's a bunch of upset emotion, the still awareness is noticing the upset, but the still awareness is not itself upset. Or it's almost like, the camera sees the colors, but the camera has no colors, kind of the idea. If the camera did have a color, then its, seeing of the actual colors would be distorted. And so the idea is that this basic awakeness has no properties at all except awakeness. But that's wrong, as far as I'm concerned. I think that's not correct. Or to put it another way, yeah, sure, that's true, but there's something missing in that description. What's missing in that description? And it's hard for me to talk about this, just not because, but it's just a hard thing to kind of put into language. And that is, what's missing from the description is that the awareness itself is what's making anything possible. And the awareness itself is what is giving room for everything to manifest. And it's the awareness itself is giving that room without any right or wrong, without any judgment. It allows everything to manifest, no matter how awful or how wonderful. And so that kind of openness and non-judgment and something that gives the room for everything to exist, that's a property. Right? And that property is called love. Right? It's loving. because it's unconditionally allowing everything in this very joyous and expansive and spontaneous and unafraid manner. Right? Now that's different than like the feeling of love, but it's also not propertyless. Right? It's its own kind of frame, or I don't know what the right word is there, but it's always so stunning to me, like the wonder of it and the amazing love of it. And that people can call that, neutral. Always blows my mind. Because it is neutral in sort of the normal human way of talking about it, but in this other, just the isness of it is just the opposite of neutral. It's super excited to let everything happen. It's energized, it's creative, it's fucking awesome. Even when the actual content is not that. And so there is this kind of basic, way below anything that we would call a thought or an emotion or anything like that, way deeper, fundamental, in the foundations of the universe, just joyous love that is just gushing forth with everything happening. It's not that hard to notice. We're just trained to never see it. Because we're kind of up here on this other level going, well, this sandwich is good, but not that good. It's like, there's a sandwich. There's someone eating. It's just a different way of placing attention. And that same basic spontaneous creative openness is what the thing that you're presently calling you is always just popping out of moment by moment. Fresh out of the oven every nanosecond. Right out of that, like, boom, creative joy. And from that place, it's nothing but spontaneous perfection. It's absolutely exquisite, exactly as with all its warts, right? And all its everythings. So we're not making this up, or somehow this is not just like, psychological exercise where we pretend that we're lovable. We're really actually directly tapping into something that's as profound as it can be, right? It's coming from the very source. Because that's what I'm talking about, the source. Where even if you have, negative self-talk happening, I'm so this, I'm so that, even that just popped out of the source as just another wonderful expression. Scintillating, bright, spontaneous, vibrant. There's nothing that's not that. Regardless of how it may seem when we kind of allow it to bubble up to more of the conceptual plane. So that's what I have to say tonight. Let's see if you guys have anything to say, whether it be a question or a comment or a report or, some denouncement or denouncement or a critique. Just raise your hand and we'll bring Faiza will generously bring you a microphone. There's always two two what's the word? Warnings here. That's the wrong word. Advisements? No. Can't think of the word. Disclaimers. That's more along the line. What?
Exhortations.
Okay. Exhortations. Demands? No. All this is wrong. Anyway, remember that we're streaming live to the internet. So just so you know, it's not just us. It's the whole world. Whole world. And also just remember to be mindful of your speech, right? We all just meditated. So those are the two kind of reminders. That's it. Reminders. We have some hands going up.
Thanks for the set, Michael. I said thank you for the meditation. Would you say that there's a different view where everything that's arising is suffering arising, and everything that's passing away is suffering passing away? And when I hear you, I hear everything that's arising is like ecstatic, excitement arising. Would you say these are kind of very similar, but just different views on it, or kind of in conflict?
The one is just not my experience. And the other one is. So it's not that they're in conflict. It's not even that one is right and wrong. To me, that just sounds like ideas. And nothing wrong with ideas, but I'm like, yeah. Or to try to get a little more into what you're saying, sure, I can put myself in the place where everything's suffering. But it takes some effort to do that. It's kind of like, oh yeah, that place. But, and it's not like, oh, I never experienced suffering, but the thing where it's all that, I'm like, yeah, I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. To me, that starts to just be kind of a mental exercise.
Why do you then not say it's wrong? You want to say it's just an idea, but not say that it's wrong, even though your direct experience contradicts it?
Well, maybe it's your experience. Your experience isn't wrong. I'm just saying, okay, to me, I'm not saying that's a wrong idea, anything like that. Just like, I don't really see it that way. Okay?
Thanks.
Thanks, Sale. I almost got that yellow. I stuck with the French green.
I had a question about how to not experience awareness, because I find it really easy to conceptualize. Oh, there's this thing, there's this place of awareness, and when we have the language of things arise in our awareness,
Sure.
then I find it's really easy to go looking for, oh, there's this place.
Sure.
But then I'm thinking, no, that's so dualistic. There isn't a place. So how do you experience or think about awareness without chasing it as some other thing which actually doesn't exist? If that question makes sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. So, yeah, it's easy. Don't do that. I mean, you just make it into an idea. Well, so the answer to your question is, the whole first part of the meditation was showing you how to do that. Place your thinking mind over here. Don't get involved with all that. Now just be naturally aware. I don't have to go looking for that. And if I do go looking for that, then I'm back involved in the thinking. When I set that aside, that's the whole point of setting that aside. I'm just aware. There's nothing to look for. If you're not aware at that moment, you're dead. Right? There's no further thing to look for. Experience is happening. That's why I call it presence. Is this making any sense? And the minute you go looking for it, you're lost. because now you're looking for an idea. Okay? So the answer to your question, I led you through it as an experience, but now we're unpacking it a little bit. You know this already, just by the way you asked the question. This is not new information. So why isn't that happening? He still needs the microphone. So why isn't that happening?
It happens sometime, but then I mean, you're right. As soon as I conceptualize and think about,
Then
oh,
don't
there's
do
this
that.
thing, awareness, then boom,
Yeah.
I'm out of it, right?
Okay, but you're only out of it as long as you keep conceptualizing. So
Yeah.
go, oh, whoops, drop it,
Yeah,
then you're back.
yeah,
You can't not be aware. If we really are noticing you're even aware in your dreams, you're even aware in deep sleep, there's no moment you're not aware.
Mhm.
And so there's nothing to look for, or to put it another way, it's what's looking. So you can't
Mm.
find it.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah. Great, thank you.
Yep. What else? Again, feel free to just report or whatever. You don't have to have a question.
Why is it always confusing talking about that?
Because
Is it-
language isn't made to talk about it. Language is made to, make deals about how many sheep I'm going to buy or whatever. It's just totally not about this stuff. And if when we do get into, special language that is created to talk about this, it starts to get a lot easier. But you have to be, you have to all agree on what the words mean and spend a lot of time. So it's tricky, but it can be done.
Could it be that the way that we are practicing can maybe develop more to make that conversation easier? Is it absolutely about language?
It's absolutely not about language. Our practice is going to make connection easier. And that connection happens on many other levels than simply verbal. Verbal is one of the least connected and most tenuous and most disconnected ways to try to connect. Still works, but humans are exquisitely tuned to facial expressions and micro expressions and posture and all kinds of stuff, right? We're loaded with mirror neurons and we're always vibing with people. And if you're paying attention, the words themselves are almost irrelevant. They might just be a kind of song you're singing, and it's the sound of the words that is more important. So I would say, I like language a lot. I have whole degrees in language, literally, and so I'm not cutting it down, but it's just one tiny restricted channel of communication.
Thank you.
Yep. I think there was a hand up here.
I have something that's similar to the love, but it's more like a creative joy of all the pixel, like in every color there's all colors, or I feel it in vision is like a blooming, buzzing,
Yeah,
and it's like the feeling on the skin of constant tingles.
yeah,
Is
it's
that the same thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the same thing because we have different words in there, but these are just different aspects of the same thing. You did hear me say spontaneous, joyous, creative. Those words were in there. So exactly that. Anybody else? Anything else? Don't be shy.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
I felt like you gave us all the opportunity to like really be babies. So
I like babies.
yeah. So thank you. And I was curious if you could because what we did was like a little bit of deity. Was that like a deity yoga practice kind of?
It had aspects of deity yoga for sure.
I'm curious, like I know there's like formal.
Yes, that's what I mean. We weren't
Yeah,
doing
so I know there's like very formal, and I was wondering in whatever context you're able to share a little bit, like the transition, because there was an edge where I was, able to visualize and able to receive, and then resisting the receiving, but able to have that breakdown, and then the invitation to then become that.
Yeah.
And then see from those eyes was like, see from the eyes of the one that saw me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you could just like touch into like when the edges of the other melt and then snap back, and I don't know. There's not like a full question as
That's
much
okay.
as
Yeah, you saw it,
yeah.
right?
And I
So
just like wish I could do it all the time. And it's like
you can.
yeah.
Right?
But I don't want to escape like the one that needs to still receive from the
Oh,
Does
yeah.
that make
Well, start
sense?
out with do the whole first part of receiving.
okay.
And then eventually become. It's not like you skip over that step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So just each time go through all the steps.
Mm-hmm.
But, it didn't take any tools or any special equipment or any clothes of,
Yeah.
of a certain size or whatever. It's all you did was use yourself, use your mind, use your
And I
presence.
had a good Thich Nhat Hanh's my guy. You can
Yeah,
just say
there
his
you go.
name and I'll start crying.
Yeah,
so.
there you go.
Yeah, it was nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you for the guidance.
You're welcome.
I was really following pretty closely with the guidance up until the part where, correct me if I'm maybe recalling wrong, I think up until the part where you said something maybe like you're lovable or inherently lovable, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So of course, this any implicit message that we are not lovable is pretty toxic. That's often a lot of what a lot of people may have learned in their
Maybe
life.
most of what most of us learn, yeah.
Yeah, and one reason it's, well, maybe my understanding is that one reason it's toxic is that it's a wrong view about self. I guess I'm always curious about the strategy of like maybe, or it seems like that then the message, oh, you are lovable, is yet another idea about self. And this seems more like it's adding that on versus letting go of that idea that you're not lovable and not without adding on some other idea. Hopefully.
Well, would you, from your own question, you'd admit that there are ideas that are toxic, right? I mean, that's what you're saying. There's ideas about self that are toxic.
There are ideas that are unwholesome, unhelpful.
Well, let's call it, you said toxic. I think that's a good word.
Toxic, okay.
So wouldn't you also agree that there are ideas that are healing?
Healing and those ideas need to be let go of at some point as well.
Maybe not, you know. But minimally healing and helpful and beautiful. And so you're right. I mean, I get where you're going. We don't want to be lost in a new fantasy or stuck in a new story. But neither are we supposed to end up in a place where ideas are illegal. The intellectual mind, the idea mind, language, poetry, it's all still possible with awakened mind. It doesn't all have to disappear. Otherwise, you know, to be the most awake would be to be the most kind of like diminished. What we want is even the thoughts, even the intellectual mind, even the stories to be awake, to be non-reified, but still that spontaneous expression of creative joy of the source. Okay, so this is a big difference in different types of non-duality. Some of them point towards it must all go to zero. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying no, zero and infinity are both possible at the same time. And so even that story can be awake. We're not just lost in a story. It's awakeness itself, if it's non-reified. So I'll just start repeating myself, but that's the idea.
Can you say more about how it's non-reified?
We must see the emptiness of the story even while telling it. Okay, just like we can see the beauty of a rock while still understanding its emptiness. It doesn't have to disappear. Okay? Thanks. Just time-wise, I'm going to end there, but thanks for your question. So then the promised totally silent meditation will happen now for just about 5 minutes. You get to do whatever you want in the silence of your own experience. But we'll do it together. Okay, everybody. Thanks for making the effort to come out in person to meditate this evening. Hope to see you again next week. If you want to, you can hang out in the foyer and have some tea and maybe snacks and talk to each other. It's a great community, so cool people to talk to about weird stuff. And then if you want to, feel free to help put the cushions back over here, right? Other than that, see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks.